Hi people, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. My topic for today is Nairobi City, its goodness and challenges. And I will introduce to you what the city of Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital and the largest city in Kenya. It came from the Maasai phrase Enkare Nairobi, which means cool water. It was formed in the year 1899 by the colonial authorities in British East Africa as a rail depot on the Ugandan railway. You know very well that Nairobi City was formed out of the railway construction, which was taking place from Mombasa all the way to Uganda, and the British used the Indian coolies to construct the railways. Yeah, and the constituencies of Nairobi are 1. Makadara, Kamukunji, Starehe, Lang'ata, Dagoretti, Westlands, Kasarani, Embakasi. And each of the constituencies, I'll talk about the estates. Westlands, there is Kitisuru, Parklands, High Ridge, Karuru, Karura, Kangemi, Mountain View. There's also Kilimani. Dagoretti North comprises of Kilimani, Kawangware, Gatina, Kileleshwa, Kabiro. Dagoretti South consists of Mutuini, Ng'ando, Riruta, Udhiru or Rudhumitu, and Waithaka. Lang'ata comprises of Karen, Nairobi West, Ngumo, South C, Nyayo High Rise, Otiendo, Sun Valley 1 to 2, and St. Mary's Hospital Royal Park. Kibra comprises of Laini Saba, Lindi, Makina, Woodley or Kenyatta Golf Course, and Sarang'ombe. Roysambu consists of Roysambu Garden Estate, Muthaiga, Ridgeways, Githurai, Kahawa West, Kahawa Sukari, Kahawa Wendani, and Zimmerman. Kasarani consists of Clay City, Mwiki, Kasarani, Njiru, and Ruai. Ruaraka consists of Babadogo, Utalii, Mathare North, Lakisama, and Korogocho. Embakasi South comprises of Imara Daima, Wajenga, Kwaruben, Pipeline, and Kware. Embakasi North comprises of Kariobangi North, Dandora Area 1, Dandora Area 2, Dandora Area 3, and Dandora Area 4. Embakasi Central comprises of Kayole North Central, Kayole North, Kayole South, Komarok, Matopeni, or Spring Valley. Embakasi East comprises of Upper Savannah, Lower Savannah, Nyayo Embakasi, Utawala, and Mihango. Embakasi West comprises of Umoja 1, Umoja 2, Moulem, Kariobangi South. Kamukunji comprises of Umwani, Eastleigh North, Eastleigh South, Airbase, California, Buruburu Phase 1 and 5. Makadara comprises of Maringo or Hamsa, Viwandani, Harambee, Makongeni, Bahati, Mbotela, Buruburu phase 2 to 4. And Starehe comprises of Nairobi Central, Ngara, Pangani, Ziwani or Kariakoo, Landimawe, Nairobi South. Mathare comprises of Hospital, Mathare Hospital, Matapini, Huruma, Ngei, Mlango Kubwa and Kiamaiko. And now I'll talk about the goodness of Nairobi. And I will talk about the goodness of Nairobi. Number 1, it has amazing culture and people. Nairobi is steeped in rich culture, heritage and history, and the people are very welcoming. Nairobi is a very metropolitan city. It comprises of people of all tribes, and the people are very hospitable. Yes. Number 2 is historic museums. For example, the National Museum of Kenya, Nairobi Railway Museum, and Karen Blixen Museum, which is in Karen. Nairobi Museum is near Chiromo. Yeah, on the road to Chiromo. And also, is number 3, city adventure and safaris. It has national parks and wildlife sanctuary. For example, there's the Nairobi National Park, there's Giraffe Center, and it has all kinds of animals, including the big 5, for example, the lions, the leopards, the elephants, the buffaloes, and the rhinos. There's also number 4. It has amazing parks and gardens. For example, Uhuru Park, Nairobi Botanical Garden. And also, it has Fortune 500 companies. For example, Shell, Barclays, General Motors, Oilibia, etc. Number 6, it has great weather. The weather in Nairobi is very friendly. It's not so hot and not very cold. It has like the weather of 24 degrees Celsius. Yes. And number 7, it has thrift markets. For example, Gikosh Market, Toy Market, Sunbeam Market. If you go to those markets, you will get all kinds of items that you require in terms of clothing, in terms of any other stuff that will please you. I'll go now to the challenges that Nairobi City has. Number 1 is planning. Nairobi has been functioning and offering services without a master plan in the past 40 years or so. For example, estates like Githurai, Zimmerman, Kayole, Umoja, Kangemi and Dandora have suffered from poor planning in the city of Nairobi. Then challenge number 2 is solid waste management. Residents of Nairobi are working on garbage and waste. Waste management offered by the city council were effective in the early 90s, 80s, 70s and behind. That means that Nairobi was very clean back then, whereby there was a routine where the city would be cleaned thoroughly, the streets would be cleaned thoroughly, and there was no case where litter was all over the town. Nairobi was very clean then. But then what happened is that the waste management services, they vanished in the mid-90s. As a result of the services vanishing, you find that there's a lot of litter all over the city of Nairobi, like find garbage all over Nairobi, and some estates, if you go to some estates, oh my god, you will cry. For example, if you go to Dandora, if you go to Mathare, any other estate, especially the ghetto estates, there's a lot of, you find garbage all over, and you wonder if that one you would cry, because we find that places where the garbage is all over, you find that they start to smell so bad, and it's humiliating. You would not want to live near a place where there's heaps of garbage. Then there's also sewage and liquid waste. Most of the sewage and liquid waste either ends on water bodies or degrades the land. For example, Nairobi River has suffered so much from poor sewage drainages, and especially when it rains, some roads become flooded and the roads start overflooding, and also some houses, when it rains, some houses are overflooded as a result of poor construction of the houses. You find that some houses in Nairobi, some of them are constructed without a foundation, and as a result of that, they end up water is all over the houses, and some people have suffered from that. And new developments, they come up, they connect their sewage systems to the old one, leading to overflows because of overloads. That is very sad. Nairobi has suffered so much from poor sewage drainages, and it's very sad that when it rains, the roads are overflooded, and as a result, the water destroys some of the roads. Like some roads, when it rains, they become worse. For example, Nyayapakasi, Gepedha Estate, and others have suffered so much from poor sewage drainages, and as a result, roads become overflooded, and some of the roads there have a lot of potholes, and they cause a lot of accidents. They make people fall and have injuries. There's also inadequate housing and informal settlements. For close to 3 decades, since Buruburu and Kawa West estates were constructed, the City Council of Nairobi has not made any substantial arrangement to provide housing to residents, and because of that, I think Nairobi has suffered so much from inadequate housing, and because of that, I think it's also because of overpopulation. As a result of overpopulation, it has led to the rise of slums. For example, Kibera slum, which is the largest slum in not only in Nairobi but also in Africa as well. And in slums, the conditions are not so good. You find in those slums there's also high cases of insecurity. Number 5 is security. There has been a rise of crime, especially in the ghetto estates. For example, Mathare, Eastleigh, Eastlands, Huruma, Kariobangi. Those estates, they have suffered so much from cases of insecurity. Even Nairobi town itself, you find that as a result of overpopulation and inadequate housing it has led to a lot of crime. And also challenge number 6 is public transport. You find that transport in Nairobi, for example matatus, they put loud music, and also that they drive very fast, and not only matatus, even border borders, they are a nuisance to not only passengers but also drivers as well, and they end up causing accidents. And also Nairobi has suffered so much from traffic jam. You find that traffic jam, the roads of Nairobi, some of them are very narrow, and that has been a challenge to the city of Nairobi. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've enjoyed, comment down below and have a good day.